Charleston is taking the long view at what job opportunities will be available and who can fill those roles in the next several years. Let's welcome Celeste Granger, Associate Vice President of Talent for Charleston Metro Chamber of Commerce. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
It's kind of exciting to think about where we are going to be in the next several years, just economically speaking, and the opportunities that are going to be available. So let's talk a little bit about from whence we came to present day.
Absolutely. Charleston's always been a high priority of a hospitality, food and beverage town. That's always kind of been the one selling point. And that really has stayed consistent throughout the years. Now with the closure of the base and kind of the way the landscape looks now, we have a lot more different industries that are coming into play for us in the Trident region. And so, we have a booming healthcare sector, our manufacturing sector is really growing, our IT corridor is still really strong here. So, as we look at projections for the future, what's really nice is there's a good variety, too, of all of those top jobs that we're seeing as well.
To also accommodate all the people who are moving to the area as well.
Absolutely.
Right, so it's not just people who are raising their families who are from South Carolina to begin with, but we've had a huge influx of people from other places.
Yes.
So that's now starting to keep up with the population.
And that's actually what's really kept us in a thriving economic region for us. As we've seen national trends go, we actually do a little bit better than what you see at the national levels. But we have such great attraction to this region, and so we've always had great growth here. And so it's really good to look at these studies so that we can have thoughtful growth to the region and really look at what is happening here.
Now, as a result of this 2022 study, so what is the projection in the next 5 years?
Sure, so we're looking at a net overall job gain of about 35,700, so just under 36,000 jobs over the next 5 years of new jobs to the area.
Is that exponential from previous 5 years?
Yes, a little bit more. COVID was a factor in the last projection, so that kind of threw us off a little bit, and that kind of trended across the board. So it's slightly higher than what we were looking at. We were close to 20,000 last time that we did a 5-year projection, but that was during COVID.
But certainly you're not seeing industry leaving South Carolina the way they're leaving places like Chicago, California, Silicon Valley to
Correct.
Texas, or, and what you were mentioning as far as IT is concerned, well, this has been known as Silicon Harbor, and that's also growing tremendously. So in terms of the people to fill those roles, the talent pool from which to draw, are we seeing that keeping up with demand? Are we going to have to make some pretty sharp maneuvers between now and the next 5 years to make sure that we are ready for those jobs?
Sure, so that's one of the main reasons too we do this study. We work really closely with our education and training providers in the region. They really utilize this information to look at the programs they're offering, to look to see at their capacity levels, if they're still focused on the right industries. And so that has been one of the uses of this study that they've asked for and really rely on so that they can match up to what our industry needs are for this region.
A lot of the jobs that it sounds like they're going to be made available aren't necessarily requiring a 4-year degree. While there's no disparagement on anyone who desires to get a 4-year degree, but that is also now kind of coming under this new light of, well, there are other alternatives. I think for so many years it was sort of the expectation, but in reality we're losing out on so many skilled workers to perform these jobs that 4-year degrees just don't cut it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there had been a huge focus on 4-year institutions for a long time, and you're right, we are seeing that the skilled labor and skilled workers is where a large increase has been happening. The other thing, employers are seeing good gains is when they're able to set up that career pathway and show workers that once you enter this field, there is longevity for you, and this is what your career progression could look like.
Sure.
That's very helpful in order for them to understand that they could upskill, that they could, increase and stay within a career track.
And one thing that I would just have to say that I hope changes is an increase from the annual wage. So currently it's about just under $52,000 a year.
Correct.
And keeping up with the cost of living here, hopefully that will also rise. I think that's something that we need to work on in the next few years. Well, Celeste, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
We're back in 2 minutes.